Hey folks, Cannonball Cats. I'm on the Budget, Texas. Back with you here today, shooting another one and going over a fix that I have for one of my components in this Glock build. That if you've seen some of my previous videos, if you haven't, go back and look. I've got this Glock 34 build that I have, and essentially got a fix for one of the problems that I've had with it, which is Timney trigger, Timney Alpha Glock trigger, and I'm calling this the Timney Alpha Glock trigger fix. So this is, you can see right now, this is the frame. You can see there's nothing in there. I've already got the necessary parts taken out here in the bag. Got the slide set aside over here. I've already done what I need to on the slide as part of this fix, but here is the Timney Alpha Glock Gen 3, Gen 4 trigger in this bag here with all the parts, all the springs, and the tool that comes with it and everything. I'd thrown the box away already. And I had used this one previously in another firearm, and I had competed with it, and it was nice in competition, but I decided to move it to this one during this build because this one was going to be a possible move into competition type setup, so I wanted to move it to this one and get it comfortable in this firearm. But since moving it to this one, and even before moving it to this one in the previous, I started having trouble with the trigger reset. And that's a common problem amongst these triggers out there. I don't know if you can see inside the bag here, there's a couple of these springs here. There's one here and one right there, and those are your reset springs, and they're two different types. One is supposed to be a little firmer than the other, and one is for stock parts in a firearm, one is for aftermarket parts in a firearm. It all comes out in the instructions, it tells you, but neither one, after using it in competition, having a couple of reset issues there, and even prior, but very minimal, so I thought it would work itself out. It never did really work itself out, so I changed it over to this gun, gave it a try, and then it just went all to crap, to be honest with you. The reset is just crap. It gets horrible reset. I've cleaned this frame over and over. I've oiled everything. I've done everything I can, and this trigger and these springs only have maybe 600 rounds through them right now. There's no reason for them to be failing already. I know there's a lot of these triggers out there that are running perfect for folks. Mine isn't, and I'm one of the unlucky ones that got the one that's not running that great. The problem is, of all of these triggers, the ones that run perfect, that's great. They seem to keep going. The ones that have problems, they just never can quite get them fixed, and that's in everything I've seen, everything I've heard, and everything I've read. So I've got a fix for this one, though. I'm going to show you the fix, and it's right here. It's right here. Let me open this packaging right quick, and we can show you what I believe this fix is going to be. And a couple of items, stickers. Let's get out the meat and potatoes. And here it is. This is going to be the fix for this guy. There you go. Steel City Arsenal trigger. I don't know if you can see right there in the slide that gold firing pin. That is actually a solid titanium firing pin with a reduced power spring and firing pin sleeve and spring cups. A little package that I picked up from Lone Wolf Distributors. Now that I've shown you this fix that we have here, this right here, let me show you, since this is the fix, this right here, this trigger, watch what happens to it. It's quick. It can happen in the blink of an eye. It's gone. All right, it's going to go into a tub of spare parts that I have, and it's going to sit there until Timney actually comes up with a proper fix for the percentage of triggers that are given and having the reset issues out there. They're going to come up, the design is great, but they need to come up with something that's going to fix that issue. And sending out a new trigger, sending out new springs, that's all great and all. It's great customer service, I get it, but it doesn't fix the problem at hand. Replacing does not fix the problem. You have to come up with some way to fix that issue. And I don't know what it is, but I didn't make the trigger. I'm just one of the people that bought one. And for $160, I expect it to be a damn well a lot better and last a lot longer than it did. I'm very, very dissatisfied with it. So anyhow, let's get on with this. I'm gonna pause this right quick. I don't need to show you how I'm gonna build all this. No need to show you that. You've seen that before in my previous videos, as well as I'm sure plenty of others. So let me put it all together, and I'll come back on and we'll check it out when it's completed and see how it functions and look at its characteristics and go from there. All right, we'll be back. So real quick here, I just want to show you this trigger before I do get it installed. It looks pretty good. It's got a nice slope here on the cruciform. Cruciform looks good. It's a little rough on the bottom. We'll see how that plays out. I don't think that's going to play a role in anything. It's actually very nicely done and very smooth on top. And the trigger is really quite nice. It's an aluminum trigger, and it's got great texturing on both sides of it, and it actually feels all right there. So anyway, I just want to show you that. One other thing I'll show you right quick is that this is what it says on the back of the packaging. You can read that there, and this is pretty important because if this trigger comes in and I get it at that general same travel, pre-travel, and pull weight that this Timney trigger had, and I still can maintain the drop safe and safe action design, man, it blows the Timney away for almost half the cost. And nobody can argue that, because if you can get the same trigger pull weight that you get at and the same feel out you get out of the Timney out of this trigger, it's less cost, and you still get the drop safe protection, and it maintains all the safeties in the proper manner. The Timney trigger actually nullifies that in the Glock, just so you folks know. Again, it changes it to more of a single action. It fully preloads the striker in place, and it does not allow the pre-travel to be used in order to cock the striker back before the cruciform drops out of the way and allows it to release. So if this does just as good as the Timney, then it's 10 times better. Okay, so I got them installed, and there it is in there. Got everything put back together. So took me about 10 minutes. Pretty easy install, but looks like everything is working like it should in this position. Now remember, in here we've got the reduced striker block spring. We've got the titanium firing pin with the new firing pin sleeve, new spring cups. They call them the Marine style or Mariner style or whatever. They just have the 4 little arms coming out, supposed to allow debris to escape. And then also the reduced power striker spring. So let's see how this guy responds. When I had the original Timney installed in this and my other guns, I just ran the standard everything with the Timney. So there is a little bit of parts changes that you have to run in order to get some of these poundages down. But I just want to see how it runs now, and let's see if it becomes something that is going to be comparable. So remember, when you're putting your Glocks back together on your firing pin, if they don't have a return spring, Shadow Systems has a little spring that holds this pin back. But remember, you always want to have your firing pin forward. Push that safety block out of the way, have your firing pin forward, so when you put it back on, it's similar to like how you took it off. You have to decock it to take it off. It needs to be decocked to get back on. It's all part of the way it just fits back together in that manner. It just goes back together easier. You can do it the other way, but it's a pain in the butt. This way it just slides back into place. So real quickly, you can see, I can show you, I haven't done any function checks, but now that it's back together, you can see that everything's empty. There's no ammunition. There's no ammunition anywhere around. And let's see how this baby feels. I had a couple of issues with it. I was getting good contact with the back of the cruciform, and let me pull this up here real quick. Let's go ahead and show you what we got. So if you look in the back here, I've got a little armorer's back plate that I put on so that you can see the back where everything's engaged. And if you look, it's very hard to tell, but you might be able to see it. But if you look at, let me get the angle right. If you look at where the cruciform is making contact, it's given probably, I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna say that's about 75 to 80% coverage of the cruciform, the back there on the striker. But initially, when I first put this in, the actual striker was, and I noticed it the other day when I compared it to a factory striker I have, it's got a more rounded base or bottom of this arm, this vertical arm that the cruciform meets, and it also was a very small amount, but based on everything in these firearms, a great deal larger, or extending a great deal further than your factory striker. So I put it in here and I couldn't get the trigger to release. I was coming back all the way with this trigger and it was not releasing the striker, and that turned out to be the problem. The trigger itself is great, the striker is great, very nice, but it's just a little bit too long, so I had to shave a little bit off of it, and I've got it where right now we're probably 75% to 80% coverage of the cruciform, which is right where we want to be. And now you can see the firearm itself. If I do the take up on it, there's your take up right there, which is not much, and then bam, it breaks just like that. Show you the reset. Reset's pretty good, it's very short, and click again. You can hear it click. So take a couple of trigger readings and see what we're getting. We're using the handy dandy Lyman just mechanical scale. Mind you, this is not a controlled environment. I'll put my straight normal back plate on after this is all done. This one serves a purpose. But anyhow, mind you, this is not a controlled environment, so you know the trigger readings that we get are going to be based on where this roller sits on the trigger at any time. So we'll see if we can get some consistency, but we'll go from there and see what we're getting. Okay, that one is right at see where you can see it. I don't know if you can see that very good, but it's just a shade under 4 pounds, so not too bad. And let's get another reading here. That one is actually just a shade over 3.5. I wish I could give you a better shot of that. I apologize that I can't. And we'll do one more just to develop a uncontrolled environment three pull average here. Oops. I got that all wrong there. Hang on. Okay, here we go. Oh, that one was really high. Yeah, that one was actually at 5 pounds. I think that was more me. That one was high too. So let me see if I'm having the same issue here right quick. Yeah, see, it's catching on the top of that cruciform, this striker. See, and then now it's running again like it should. I think a lot of it's going to have to do with break-in. Because it's just right there. And then there we go, we're back into that 3.5 to 3 and 3/4 pound range. So the trigger is doing everything it should. Where I'm having the issues is with the actual striker itself, and I think that's part of the break-in. I could shave a little more off and make this thing react without question. No issues at all, but I like it where it's at. I like the coverage on it, so I think it's just going to be a lot of breaking it in and some of this TIN coating on the titanium wearing off and polishing that up a little bit where the two begin to mate and meet with each other. So anyway, there you go, folks. So I think that, you know, the actual range of trigger pull we're looking at is probably 3.5 to 3 3/4 pounds. maybe up to 4, but that's just starting out with this new striker, the new striker spring, and the new trigger. So I think it's going to come down another half a pound or so. That's going to put me, after good and solid break-in, that's going to put me around that 3 1/4 mark, which quite honestly is right about where that Timney trigger was. I was right at 3 pounds or just a shade over. So I'm happy with that. I think that for the money, I think that I'm going to get into something that I actually like a little better with this feel. I do like the feel of this trigger. No offense to you Timney Alpha Glock trigger folks out there. You may love yours, and to each his own. This is my result out of a sample of one, as you see said all the time online from some of these other folks. This is my result out of a sample of one. So keep that in mind. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll give a follow-up on this and let you know how it's going. But you know, I think that it's going to work out really nice. I really like the reset on this one. So anyhow, all right, folks. Cannonball Cats, hunting on a budget, Texas. Signing out, telling you have a great weekend or finish to your weekend. Enjoy your time together with your family, friends, and so on. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.